Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. This webinar will be out on YouTube, and for the entire week, I'll be putting it all on YouTube. So if you're one of my thousands of viewers on YouTube, please share it to another trader friend that you know so that he can watch it and we can double the number of people who get access to these videos. It's all absolutely free with no commitment. You don't have to buy anything from me at all. It's just free webinars. Just share it, like it. If you want to make a comment, make a comment. One guy made a comment yesterday on the Bitcoin. He said, "You guys can read it, but it's quite interesting. He said you are too old to understand anything about Bitcoin." You know, I'm not exactly quotation. Basically, I'm too old to understand how Bitcoin works, and that is why I'm giving wrong forecasts on Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrencies. Well, that's his opinion, and he has a right to it. Everyone has a right to their opinion. I think he's wrong because my forecast on those currencies has been amazing. He says you're telling people to buy at sell when it's going down and buy when it's going up. When it breaks the top, you should buy. Well, remember when it was 21 and I said, hey, you probably should be selling and not buying, and it dropped to 5,000 from 21K to 5K? Remember when it went to 50s to the 60s and I said, hey, you got to be careful? Well, again, I'm saying the same thing. If you understand patterns, you have to be careful. Let me start with that one because it's interesting. I have no bone in this. That guy is probably, you know, he's being paid to promote Bitcoin. I get offered to pay to promote coins a lot, but I refuse them all. I can tell you there's about 50 emails in my inbox, which is for me promotions on different things for brokers, for coins, for different things. And I just refuse every single one of them flat on the face. I'm not going to promote something I don't have a clear vision of, or I don't think is worth promoting, or not really worth promoting, that I don't have the conviction of it. If I'm going to promote something, it's something that I actually have done myself and I have the conviction in it, right? So many coins offer me, and they would give me coins in advance, that they would pay me for the promotion, like all of that. I mean, you guys know the route. I just refuse them all. So let's go with this. I'm telling you that when Bitcoin comes back to the top, you've got to be careful. And I'm not talking about this top, we're talking about the daily top. You've got to be careful. So we will see. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm always willing to say I'm wrong. But based on wave analysis, this is your impulse. This comes here, it can even break the top. It's going to drop here before it goes. That's how we look at patterns. So all I'm saying to you is when it comes here, be cautious. When you're in this zone here, be very cautious. Because you might be the last person to exit. No, it doesn't have to stop here. It could go much lower before it comes back up. The question is, do you want it to go from 60 to 26? If you're in at 64, would you want it to go back to 26 and you're still in? That's a stupid thing to do, right? So let's look at it. When it was here, I've been saying the same thing. Be careful. It's going to drop. They always pull back when they're in the case. I don't see this going up forever. I could be wrong. But the general statement that I make about the tulip and cryptocurrencies, I'm absolutely sure about that one. No apologies for that. I'm not wrong about it. Again, you still have to prove to me, the person who made the comment, prove to me if all the exchanges close down tomorrow, tell me what you're going to do with the cryptocurrencies you have in your wallet. Give me solid proof of what you're going to do with it, what you can make with it, what you can do with it, what's the intrinsic value you have in it. If I have the same quantity of gold in my portfolio, I can tell you what I'm going to do with it. I can show you what I'm going to do with it. You tell me and show me what you're going to do with the Bitcoin if all the exchange goes down. Forex trading, stock trading stop tomorrow. And you're left in your wallet with Bitcoin, and I'm left in my wallet with gold or oil or peas or beans or flour or currencies. I have those in my wallet, and you have Bitcoin in your wallet. Tell me what you're going to do with it. If you prove to me that you can do something with that of value, I'm wrong. It's not a bubble. If you can't prove to me that you're going to do something of it with value, then I'm right. It's a bubble. I'm not saying you can't trade it. Let's get this clear. I'm not saying you can't trade it. You can trade it. You can make a lot of money trading it. As an instrument for trading, it will work as long as there are enough people willing to buy it. That is what a market is about. There's a willing buyer and there's a willing seller. If you're smart, you can make money. But if you end up and the wrong end of it, at the wrong timing, you can end up with the bubble bursting in your pocket. So my traders are trained not to do that. That is why I say to them, when we look for specific patterns that we know, and you get the pattern where you think that the possibility of this coming back here is or does exist, you just be cautious, which means if it starts to go down, you exit. You can always get back in that trade. And there's one I want to show, Ethereum. I was showing this for somebody. I was doing this for somebody. And as you can see what I have here, once it came to the bottom here and it started to go back, the thought process was it's going to go here. So I tell the person, when it gets into this area here, you may want to exit. I think she exited here. It goes up a little more. And I said, don't worry, it will come back beyond this point. I was expecting it to come here. It did come back to this level, way beyond where she exited. So if you wanted to buy back, this would be a good buyback point, and you will still be in profit, right? I still don't think this is going up as yet. I think this is still in the B wave. Like I said, I still think this will go up a little, but it's going to come here before it goes. Now, this is where forecasts could go wrong. This is where traders would say, well, look, you said it's going to come here, but it doesn't come. We don't know what this B wave is going to be. We're not fortune tellers. We don't tell the fortune. We tell you what a possible pattern can look like. Can it come here, go there, come back here, go there, come back here, go there, come back here, go there, and then drop like this? Absolutely. But as long as you have one and you have two, this tree is likely going to happen. Whether it happens here, 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 it's likely going to happen. Now, we don't know how complex this B pattern is going to get. And that's why trading room that we have is so important. That is why it's just not the forecast at the moment. It's a continuous forecast that is important that we do in our trading room 5, 6, 7 times a day. As a matter of fact, when I came into the trading room this morning, and we're in the trading room right now, there were traders discussing trades. And that happens throughout the day in our trading room. It's a continuous process, because when we saw 1, 2, 3, and this starts to consolidate, the idea is it's going to drop here. But once it gets above this top and consolidate, that's a buy setup. You can see that this was a buy setup. You can see that this would probably give you a buy setup to break that top. And once it breaks that up and you get a reversal sign here, that will be the sell to this level. Would it go to this level? Not necessarily. It could probably do this, and then go back up. We will repeat the same process. We will exit the trade. We will buy again to break the top. And then the same process continue. If it stays in consolidator, we'll exit that trade and then we will sell. And we are doing that every single day, day in, day out. So if you watch my analysis, you would understand. And sometimes I tell you this, the forecasts are not magical. It's a continuous process of the development of the patterns. And the pattern we're looking for now, the simple pattern, could become complex. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean you can't get in a trade and get out of a trade. It just means at that moment, but where it is, with the information that I have, I am assuming that that is going to be a simple pattern. Here is a good example. Yesterday, euro. Remember what I said on the 1 hour? Buy it once it breaks it. We're looking for the buy. Go look at my webinar. I told you euro is going to go up. You're making a simple 1, 2, 3 pattern here, and the chances are this is going to go up. It might have not gone up. It could have probably stayed here and do this and do this. And I even give you one example of if this came lower, if this came back lower into this zone here, that changes the forecast. It means if it came here, it will go back there, and then we would look for a sell. This is wave analysis. This is how it works. It's not a simple, straightforward thing. So to my good friend who thinks I'm too old to understand that, I wouldn't use my age and my experience against you. You're too young to understand this. If you think I'm too old to understand Bitcoin, you're too young to understand wave analysis. You should probably learn it. At an early age, if you learn it, it will be an advantage for you. So you should be the first person to join my group, which means you should be sending me a message today that you would like to learn this stuff and join the group, because it will be a big advantage for you if you're so young and so smart. I hope you're smart enough to realize the value of this, because if you are, you would be in the group. If you're not, good luck. Good luck thinking you know it all. Let's go. I remember one guy told me, he said, I think it was some years back, and I've mentioned it to my traders already. He said, this whole thing is just a guesswork, that there's no wave analysis and it's all random and you can't think. I said, but look at my analysis, they work. He said, yes, they work because you're lucky. And it's a coincidence that you get it right. Well, is it coincident that I assume euro is going to go up when euro was at the bottom here yesterday? Was it a coincidence that I think it's going to go up there? I've got to be the luckiest guy in the world, or too many coincidences, because it's based on a specific pattern. That's all. There's no magic to it. It's based on a specific pattern. It's not coincident. It's not luck. It's not anything of that form. If you know me, I'm not that lucky. I got sick like the whole year last year. Right? So there's no luck to that there. It's just a simple pattern that you understand. You study them, you realize that this is how they behave, and you go for it. So let's go. Let's start now. I know there's a little rant some people would think, but I think it's educational rant. So let's start. Did we say that this could possibly come down? The wave analysis, remember what I said? If this comes lower to this level, you bought, you exit the trade. And I did say it could possibly come back here and maybe go back up. Once it comes to this level, you start to look at a pattern. It drops to the bottom, great. Can it make a new low? Go watch my webinar. I said there's a possibility that this could be a single wave and this could still be a 1, 2, 3 wave. Can it go down totally from this point? Let me show you back the weekly and tell you what I said about that. So it's not about saying that it's going to go that direction. I said this could come back all the way to this level and then probably go back there. So we're going to watch it. It depends on which pattern you're looking at the moment. So let's go back to the 1 hour. The 1 hour became a sell. The euro was a buy first, which is great. We got that. It didn't turn out to be this flat. Could it turn out to be a bigger running flat? Sorry, that's not the one. This is the one. Could it turn out to be a bigger expanding flat in this case? Yes. Could it actually be that they're going up and, well, it's not this pattern that I'm looking at, but it's another pattern, or it's a contracting flat in here. We're not going to go into the contracting flats. That's difficult. Let me go with it's another pattern in the making. There is a chance that this could stop right here and still make a new high before it comes down. Now, what is the confirmation that it is not going to go back up there? Any consolidation here, any consolidation after you break this low is the confirmation of downside, which means we are no longer going to expect this going up. We would expect this to just continue to drop. Once this consolidation happens inside of this, you can still drop. And the possibility for upside is still open. It's just a possibility. So I'm still leaving the option that this could still go back up one more, then come down, unless we get a consolidation here now. So if you're in this sell, if you're in the buy in the euro, you will be cautious about it, right? The chances are this could still go back up. Or if it consolidates here, then we're all selling. And that means this sell becomes a long-term sell. You can keep it. So from some of my traders are in the euro, those who are not in the euro, they will have to wait for next consolidation because that will be the proof of the continuation. If it stop turns and give you a flag for downside, you exit your trade, you look for the sell setup. Let's go with that. Silver came down as expected. Remember, I said they're probably going to consolidate there. If this comes lower to this level, we will break the low. We broke the low. It's going up. This is not confirming upside as yet. Always back at the top there. If you're in the buy, you would be in the buy from here probably. You could be in the buy from a lower point. There was a flag lower to buy into. If you go into 15, you would see that flag. My traders would see it. There was a clear flag. Once you break the low and you start to go up, this was a clear buy setup. If you bought above here, that's good. That's a good buy as well. You're going to watch it at the top because we still can't confirm that this is all the consolidation. Too many sharp waves inside, right? So we're not going to confirm it. This is a possible flat in here. You can see that flat there clearly. This one came down lower. So if that comes lower, we're going to go back up, but then we're going to look for a sell to come break this low. It broke the low. It made a bigger flat. This could be the up move. If you get a flag above here, it's a buy setup. And actually, if we get a flag above there to buy, we probably will continue to go up, which means dollar index might just continue to drop. We might just continue to go way up to the top. If this is going to go way up to the top, it's a long-term buy, which means if you get a flag, you take it, put it to break even, keep the trade. Why it's a long-term buy? We'll probably come back and retest this top. Not that you will keep it to retest the top, but you will keep it for a bigger impulse before the next big correction. Right? So it could make a much bigger impulse like these sharp impulses here and then go back for a deeper correction. You'll exit the trade. So if we get a flag there today, it's a buy. It's already a buy, but if you get another flag, you take another, you can buy another. If it doesn't make a flag and come back here, if we don't get a flag but we come back here, we're still looking for a buy setup. This time we look for a buy setup from the bottom going up, which means this just becomes a bigger correction. Nothing is wrong with that. We've got bigger corrections like that here. Right? So that's what we'll be looking for. Gold. actually dropped. It's broke slightly. That doesn't mean anything. It's going back up. If we get flag, we'll buy. They'll retest the top. It's very likely that gold will come and retest this top here. We might go with this as the big running flat in the middle. So you get a 1, 2, 3 here. You get a running flat here, and you get a 1. Probably go up for 1, come down back for 2, go for 3. And this could still be a corrective structure. So we'll see how it goes. It comes to the bottom, turn, you actually saw the reversal impulse. I think for my traders, this should have been an easy one. Drop, reverse, give you a flag, go. Any flag here would be a buy. If it comes back deep to this level, we're selling. So for traders looking at this right now, if this makes a flag here, it's a buy. If it comes back deep to this level, then it will go back up, make a flat here, and that becomes a sell setup. All right, so most likely, I think we're going to get a buy setup here today. Euro, the buy is already gone. Wait for another flag, buy again. Just keep buying as long as it's going up and it's making flag, we'll keep buying. Pound, already broke out. I don't know if anybody got the trade. There was a nice flag for a buy here in the 1 hour. On this piece, there was a flag here for the buy or an entry above this one. Either is a good trade. It's gone. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see, right? So if you're buying, you're only buying to break this top, right? Remember what I said, break top, reverse, break top, correct, break top, correct. Then we can look for downside. So if you're buying this, it's only for the break of that. This still looks corrective as of now, right? As of now, it still looks corrective, and we'll keep that in mind, that it could still be corrective. Unless this takes off. If we get a really sharp impulse, that will change it, and we'll assume that this was a slow climb for the upside. So now we'll have to wait to see what it does here. Reverse, we sell. If this reverse to the here, if you kind of drop here, make a flag, we will definitely go with that sell. Right? Whether or not it breaks through the structure, we'll still take the sell. If it makes a flag here, I think that would be a risky buy, but you can still take it, get out for break even if it doesn't go. Aussie. That was an easy buy. You could have bought it lower. I think there was a better chance to buy it at this level. After the flag, yesterday when I made the webinar, the flag was not there, but this was a good place to buy it if you want. Going up, an entry above the top is not a bad idea. We're going to break this top. Once we break that top, you have to be careful. Yesterday's webinar, watch it. We're going to break the top. Once you break that top, be careful, because when we break that top, you can aim for the 270. You can aim for the 270, right? There's a chance it's going to go there. So I would not close the trade. I'll move my stop, right, on that one. If you're in that trade, you should move your stop, not close the trade, because it could get to the 270. There's a 90% chance of it getting there. Same thing with this, no difference. If you get in the trade, it will break the stop, probably get to the 270. Any flag you get in the 1 hour would be a buy setup, right? So any flag you get would be a good buy. Swiss actually dropped. It dropped here, went the back, so we've got a bigger pattern here now. I'm not sure whether this is real, but whether it's real or not is irrelevant right now. We did make a bigger correction as expected. If you get a flag here, now it's a sell. This was a sell here if anybody paid attention to that. At least to come back to the low, put it to break even. If you get another flag here, we're selling. Now you've got to be careful with the sells, because they're making a lot of big flats close to each other. Yesterday, I gave you where we think this is going to go and why we think. I did it in big details. If you want all the details, go watch it. The arrows are still here. The arrows are going to be there until the end of the week. So we will explain if there's a change in the structure, what we see. So I still think we're coming here before we go back up, right? Pretty much what we're looking for. So if you get a flag here today, it's a sell. And you can sell it to come to about this. As remember, I showed you why I put the arrow there. Go watch yesterday's webinar. If you're watching this one and you didn't see yesterday's webinar, watch it. You will see why the arrow is there and what we expect it to do, right? Yen. So yen, I also said upside, but possible more consolidation. And I think we're probably going to make more consolidation and upside. So look for buy setups on yen. Don't try to sell the yen. Sell the Swiss, buy the yen. So we don't have a buy setup on the yen, but wait for the buy setup. When you do get a buy setup, you'll take it. I think we will get a buy setup today. As soon as we break this low, we can probably get a buy setup somewhere here. We'll take it to this top. And if they're not going out as yet, they'll probably come back down. We'll repeat the process. We'll take it to the top. If they don't go out, they'll come back down. We'll repeat the process, take it to the top, and one of them is going to take off. I don't know which one of these will take off. So we will keep buying from the lows to the top. We're not selling the yen. If we're going to sell the yen, This has to drop like this and then make a correction here, and then we will start to sell the yen. So again, I know traders who do not know wave analysis find this confusing, right? Because it's like me talking to you in a language you don't understand or you don't know. So for you to know it, you may want to watch some more of my videos on wave analysis and how it works. It is amazing. And it does give you an edge in the market. There's no other analysis that gives you an edge like wave analysis. And I can clearly say that because I've studied almost every single one of them. That's why I know. Because I remember one guy would accuse me, he said, hey, but 5 years back, you used to do support and resistance, and now you're saying it doesn't work. That's the point. 5 years back, I was learning support and resistance, and now I realize it doesn't work. Well, I realized that 4 years back that it doesn't work. Not now, but basically, you can't know something doesn't work unless you've studied it. And that's the basis of why I can tell you a lot of them don't work, because I've studied them and I've really intensively studied them. Not just study them. If you know me, you know the way I study something. My traders will tell you. So CAD, more downside. We'll expect more downside. You can go for sells. And if you get flags, you can sell. It can go more, and the potential of it coming back all the way to the 786. We spoke about that yesterday because we looked at all of them coming back here before it goes back up or continue to make a new low. So at this point is where you're going to be cautious, because we measured it and we saw that most of the corrections come back to that level, especially if it's making a bigger daily correction up. So I think there's more sell to this level. If you get a flag, you can do that. Aussie Yen. Okay, so the buy is there. It's going to come break this top. If you get another buy, you can go with it. There's a small buy here, probably. Came up, make a flag. That was a good buy setup. Get another flag, go for it. Euro Yen, buy setup. Clearly, it's slow, but it's going. So when it goes slow like this, if you're in the buy, you have to be very cautious. When it starts to do this, what you got to do is be cautious, because eventually it's going to drop, make a deeper correction, then go. So if you're in the trade, move your stops. Don't take it off, because they can do this for a very long time. They can do this for a very, 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 very long time before they drop, make a bigger correction, and then continue to go to the target, right? When the target is way up at the top here, right? That's where we expect it to go. But this is where you've got to be cautious. We've seen that pattern in wave analysis. When it makes a flat and it starts to do that, eventually it goes for a bigger correction. New Zealand Yen, upside. This one probably would have been difficult to buy. We probably wouldn't have bought this because there's a sharp move here and we haven't got the second sharp move. So we'll probably get a running flat somewhere, which means you'll probably get something like this and continue to go. And that would be a buy setup. So this one, we probably wouldn't be in the trade, but you don't have to be in all of them. So it doesn't matter. CAD Yen is still correcting. It's going to be an upside. You have a short-term sell setup. If you're aggressive enough, there will be a short-term sell setup here, and then you'll expect upside. But you have to be really aggressive on that one. It's not a bad short-term sell setup for my traders. I think you can do it. It's making a short-term sell setup here for you. Swiss Yen. So we notice Euro Yen has a possibility for some downside. We know the Swiss Yen has a possibility for some downside, although they broke the top. And we know CAD Yen is already making a possibility for downside. So some corrections in all the yen pairs are expected. I don't think they're reversing as yet. Some of them already broke the weekly top, so they could be reversing. We can't claim that as yet until we get the first impulse and the correction. But at least some correction in them are expected. You can see it in all of them, right? This type of pattern. This could go on for a while, but some kind of correction is coming. EuroCAD, more downside. Actually, this one is perfect now. We broke the top. Right? See, we just broke the top there. You got a perfect 1, 2, 3. You got a flat in the middle. You got an up move. You got an up move. You get a flag here. That's a good sell. That could break through the bottom. So this is really, really good. This one, you can get it in the 15 minutes for my traders. You could take the sell in the 15. That's an impulse coming down there after we broke the top. That's an impulse coming. You get a 15 minutes flag. You can go for it. And there's a good chance that it can break out because you've got a very nice flat in the middle here. See that? You don't want it better than that. And you're getting this. And this could be a trade that will bring you here and maybe even break down the bottom. So we can go with that, sell and see. Keep a bigger stop just in case this here is a bigger expanding flat. Just in case. Keep a bigger stop for that purpose. Euro Oz, downside perfect. I think there was a perfect sell setup here, actually. I'm not sure whether we'd passed that level yesterday. I don't think so. I'm at 15 minutes. We hadn't passed that level. So yesterday, that was a good sell. You can wait for any other flag here and sell. You're in New Zealand? I don't think we have anything here. Wait for a pullback. Don't try to sell this. Let it go, or wait for a pullback and then sell. Right? If you sell here, you might get trapped to that pullback. So wait for the pullback and then sell. Euro Swiss, we're in the correction. We did break the low, right? Could it be a reversal point from here? Right? Remember, we'd say all Swiss pair is reverse. So we will watch this piece, the depth of this correction here. This is what you're going to watch now. The depth with which this goes. The depth at which it comes. If it comes to here and start to go back up, that's a buy. All the way back to the top. If it comes lower into this level, they will go back up and then it will become a sell. So the depth at which it goes depends whether we're going for the buy or the sell. Let's keep an eye on it. But the buy would still be first, right? The impulse up is still going to happen whether or not it's a flat or it's a flag. Well, not really a flag, but a bigger correction here. Europe. Okay. This is a big correction at the bottom here. This is the impulse. If we make a similar correction here with this sharp move up, I think we could consider the buy. If it makes it similar. If it comes deeper down here, then we'll consider the sell. But it's a dangerous one to sell it here with the possibility that this could just be a big flat for more upside. We've seen that happen, right? Where they made a big flat here. It looks like we're making a correction, but then the sharp move go up and then you said, okay, wait, something is going on here. If you make a flat here, you can do this. You can allow this to drop here first, drop to this level, and then put the entry order here. Because if it's going to continue to go down, they will do this. If it's going to go up, they'll come back, break the top, and then go. So we allow it to come down first, and then we go for the buy. Pang Yen. All yen pairs are showing some possible correction, deeper correction. This one is also having the same thing. Possible deeper correction coming. So it's not going to break out as yet. Pang CAD. Okay, we want to break the low before we turn, and we're not breaking that low as yet. So we'll be very cautious with any buy setup we get. Let it drop, break the low. Let this drop, 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 break the low. And if we get something like that, we'll look for the buy setup. But it has to break the low before it can guarantee you're going to get a good trade. Euro, Pound, Oz. We'll see if it doesn't break the low and it's a contracting flat. I don't know. We'll consider it, this one. Right? If it doesn't break the low and it turns out to be like some kind of a contracting flat, right? We didn't break the low. It comes to this level and this is the low. And it starts to go up. We can consider the buy and assume that that piece in the middle is a big contracting flat. Pound, Oz. More downside, there was a good buy setup. Let's see, we're going one more down. What's the big picture? Again, remember this one. Okay, if you take the sell, you'll have to sell it with caution. There is a sell setup here. Sell this with caution because we still have this in play. It's going to drop some more. It could do this a number of times, then come back and give you this. Right, so the sell setup, if you get a flag, it's not a bad idea. There was a flag there. There was a flag there. If you guys were in the trading room, I didn't make it to the trading room yesterday because I had some guests over and had to keep them busy. Yesterday was their last day. They're leaving already. So this was a good one, actually. But don't wait for another one. Go for the same sell. Pound Swiss. Yep. I don't know if anybody took the sell, but you're getting a sell set up here. You had one there, but you're getting a sell set up here. Take this one, it drops to this level, put it to break even. Let's see if they go back up or if they drop through the bottom. So this is a good one. We're getting a sell setup right now to this level, and then we'll put it to break even. Because the chances are they can go up one more. Pound New Zealand. Okay, this one fell through the bottom. That was a sell. Actually, take this sell off. The sell was actually here, but now if you get any flag, it's also a sell. Aussie Swiss, there was a buy setup. It was an early buy setup here. I think that was a perfect buy setup after you have this reversal. I'm pretty sure a lot of my traders are in that one. This is a clear upside. A lot of the Swiss pairs, by the way. Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD is also going up. I don't know if you're in the buy. If anybody's in the buy, I'll check in when you come back in the trading room or after the webinar. If you're in this buy, remember this one, right? put it to break even because it could be a running flat and still go. Right? We spoke about that yesterday in the webinar, that it's a buy, but if it becomes a long drawn up running flat, it will be good for you, which means they can go make a flag, go make a flag, go make a flag, and then pull back. Or they can pull back immediately, take you out for break even, and then we'd look for a buy from here going up. So again, just to repeat myself, if you're watching this and you're not a wave analysis trader, that would confuse you. So let me go through it very slow. We have a sharp wave here, and that means somewhere in the future, we're going to get a sharp wave back. It could be right now, or this could make a flag and go up, make a flag and go up, make a flag and go up, and then drop and then go. A series of flags could happen there before you get the sharp wave. It's an extended running flat. It's a pattern we identified. Basically, in my trading room, it's never been identified anywhere before. A lot of people will claim they do it, but basically we do that. So like one guy actually claimed he taught me wave analysis. That was funny. He has a good sense of humor, let's put it that way. So watch this here when it goes up. Let's see if we get this. Aussie, New Zealand. We're getting a good running flat here actually if it pulls back. If this pulls back here, this is a nice running flat for a sell. That would be a good one because it's moving really fast now. It used to be very slow, but now it's moving fast. New Zealand, Swiss. There was a buy setup, so this was easy. And if you get more buy setup, just go for it. Any more buy setup, there's a buy setup here. You got a buy setup here. You get another buy setup somewhere here, take the trade. New Zealand CAD. We need a correction. We definitely need a correction before you buy. We haven't broken the low. The New Zealand Swiss is a buy. The New Zealand CAD, I'll be very cautious. It didn't break the low. If it broke the low, then go up. Then you can buy in the flags. In this case, I would assume let's get a correction like this. Let's get a correction like this to confirm that there's a bigger impulse coming. Only then the buy is worth it. Because if you buy now, you're risking that it could drop suddenly. CAD Swiss. Okay, let's see what we have at the top there. Yep. Wave analysis does work. It's coming down, right? So at this point, this is not going to be the impulse to the downside. I think we already can clear that. So this is how we look at wave analysis, and this is how it changes the structure. So I explained this yesterday in the room. When we had this, we were assuming it's going to make a correction deep enough like this, and then drop with a small correction like this. That was when we were in this stage. It goes up deep, break the top, and then that changes. And we leave everything here so you can understand. That changes to a running flat. 1, 2, a sharp move down for running flat, and then upside. Now, you can see it's coming down, but it's not coming down as a running flat. It's coming down as a correction, a deeper, much bigger correction. So that means you're going to go back up, you're going to come back down, and then you're going to go. That is how the pattern changes. And this is how we identify changes in the pattern. See? So it's no longer, it's coming down as expected, but it's not coming, it's coming down as we expected, but not the way we expected it. So we will take this off, and this impulse is still not there. This moves become very impulsive in relationship to this. So this has some downside here. I think you can literally see this dropping here. You'll have to be very cautious if you're selling that, because this whole thing here would become more of a bigger correction for upside. You'll get one more move up like that. Then we should get one more move down like this, and then we will go. And that also is a simple corrective structure, simple running flat. It could be more complex than that, which means we can have a series of these. Instead of coming down, you get a big correction here and then go back and make a big correction here and then go back. And then eventually you get a sharp drop and then you go. But we can't forecast something like that because we don't know if it's going to come. You wait until it comes. When it doesn't go down as sharp as you expect, then you said, okay, what is it doing right now? Now it's making a more corrective structure. So what you have now is a more elaborate, bigger, complex corrective structure, but you can identify it. It's pretty easy, right? You can look at this and say, well, that's not impulse. So now we're getting a more complex pattern. Only now you can forecast a more complex pattern. I couldn't forecast a complex pattern when I'm getting this move going up like this. Right? You don't know what it's going to do. You can't see that this piece will be corrective. You are expecting it to be fast. Now it's corrective, great. You understand that and you said, okay, great. Let's go now let's wait for this to see. Can it turn from the downside and drop? Well, it's not coming down as an impulse, so I'm not expecting that either. And Chinese yuan. Drop downside, that was not expected. I can tell you that because we were anticipating at least going back up to this top if you're going to drop and then drop. Well, we'll have to go with this one. We'll have to go with this piece here as all the correction. And this is the drop. When it drops this much, you will expect it to go back up. They always go back. They drop, correct, drop, correct, small correction. As a matter of fact, you could go with all of this as a bigger correction. Drop, small correction, drop. There's a good chance it's going to go back. So if you're looking for a sell setup, you'd have to wait to have a very good corrective structure here before you decide to sell. Because this is the point from where it can come right back to the top. Right back to the top. So if you get a correction, if you get a buy setup, might not be a bad idea. Right? That might not be a bad idea if you get a buy setup. Okay, you're getting a correction here before it goes break the top. So they'll make a correction here and then you're going for one more up to break the top. I think the top is a little higher. Let me go to the 4-hour and see where the top is. Yep, the top is here. We can put a line for that so we can see when we get to the top. So any correction here and then go break the top. US oil continues to go. So every flag you get, you'll buy, and every buy you take, you should take off the profit. So yesterday I said, if you take this trade, when it gets, it starts to correct here, close the trade. You're going to get a correction here and you take that trade. When it starts to correct, close the trade. Don't keep these trades. They're not long-term because a sudden drop would wipe out all the profit you have. And it doesn't matter if you have a stop. It might not respect the stop. Because of where we are in the daily and the weekly, that sudden drop is possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it's possible. We have seen it happen before. It could also go down very slowly. Right? We've seen that. But most times when it's set up like this, you get one sharp sudden drop and everybody scream, murder in the world. Hey, what happened to oil suddenly? Look, oh, it's news from Saudi Arabia, or it's news from there. No, you can see it coming. You can literally see it coming. We've seen it happen many, many times. And everybody jumped to, oh, well, suddenly because of this news, it happened. No. People who trade oil, that volume, they don't listen to the news. They make the news. They don't let the news decide when when price is going to drop or all of that. They make the news for price to drop. They're the creators of the news. So if they want to drop the price, they can create the news tomorrow and price will drop. So it's not the news that is driving them. They're the one driving the market and they're the one making the news for you. So when the news comes out and the price dropped, they were prepared for it. Most of the world was not prepared, but they were prepared. These things don't happen suddenly. It's naive to think that, that volume of things with that is just going to happen because some news event somewhere. That's ludicrous. If you think that, keep thinking that way. Nothing happens that way. Let's go. Natural gas. People create news. News doesn't make them do what you think they're doing. They create the news to do what they want to do. That's what the big money does. Create news for you and me to watch the TV and argue with ourselves as to why it's dropping. Oh, because of this news. Go ahead thinking that is why. So we got a sell setup here. Now I said you got to be careful because it broke this low and there's a good chance that this is a correction. It could go back up. If it makes a flag, you can sell. So if we make a flag, if it makes a flag here or a correction and we get a sell setup, we could probably keep that because we'll be breaking out of the entire structure downwards. Put it in the 4-hour, you'll probably see that. Yeah, we should be breaking out of everything. Well, not as yet, but we'll be careful. But you can still take it because we're breaking out of the last impulse and that's a very significant sign of more downside. If you get a correction. If they reverse from here, it would be a good buy. If you get an impulse and you'll have to wait for that, an impulse and a correction, then it would be a buy. We're not getting that. We're getting more of a correction right now. See, it's kind of going sideways here. So if it keeps going sideways, that would be a sell setup. You're started. Okay, we're not going down as yet, but we're not totally going up as yet because you got a flat in here forming in this one. So you'll probably have to come back here and then make a new one like that. You'll have to come back. Maybe even come back deeper and then go. So we'll see. See, here you had a similar one here. Here's a good example. Let me show you that. You had this move down and then you made 1, 2, see this 2 here? 3. What happens? We drop. You have a move down. You have 1, see this 2 here? You have 3. We drop. I just told you it, and then I saw one where I can show you what happens. So it doesn't necessarily have to drop this deep or even come back here and then go. It could stop right here and go. This would be a buy setup if you get that. It's a simple running flat. It could be a complex one like this and then go. See, pretty easy. You can actually see them. You might have a few more of those here if I can show you. If I can find them to show you, let me see. I'll find one of those again. You can use this one, for example. This is a bigger one of the same thing. You have a move down, you get 1, you get 2, you get 3, you get a drop before you go. See, you get that drop. So once you see this correction thing here, you're thinking there is going to be a drop. So let's see what we have. We have a big one here. This is a big move down. This entire piece is a big move down. This would be the correction. You will have to come back here and then go back up. DAX. So if you were listening to me with DAX yesterday, what I said, you need to have a correction outside of the pattern to confirm the upside. Just breaking the structure doesn't mean anything. We're still within the last impulse. So now if this consolidates here, that is actually, see this consolidation here and see this piece here? That's a sell setup. Come back at the bottom. If it goes higher, come back here. That's a buy setup. We just have to wait and see which one. You can literally put a sell setup. You can put a sell here right now. If it goes higher, you pull the sell off. If it drops from there, if it drops like this, it's a perfect sell. So you can literally put a sell setup here and don't worry about it. Unless it goes higher, then you pull it, right? Put it here. And if this goes higher into this piece, pull it, take it off. But what if the next hourly is the one that drops? You don't know that. You can look at this in the 15 and see what you have in it. My traders can do that. Go more into more details, get more details, but this is a good one. Right? This is how we would trade. I'm not making a trade call for anybody. I'm giving you my views on sense of direction. I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm not telling you what to sell. As the guy of Bitcoin said, you're telling people to buy. I've never told anyone what to buy or what to sell. I've never told you where and when to buy and to sell. What I'm telling you is how we would trade in our trading room. If we were in the trading room right now, trading and not doing the analysis, I would say to my guys, put an entry order here. I'll give them where to put the stop, and we will discuss how we're going to manage the trade if it does X, Y, or Z. If it does this, we're going to do this. If it does this, we're going to do this. And if it does something else, this is what we're going to do. I'm giving you one example of what we're going to do. If it goes higher, we'll pull that entry order off. So I can tell you that part as far as it's concerned. That right now, this is a valid entry, but if this goes higher, we're going to pull the entry. We're going to allow it to come here. We might even sell it here. We'll decide on that. And then we're going to take this from here to the upside. See, no magic. It's all simple patterns that we have studied and we understand. So let's go. S&P 500. It broke out. This is very, very correct. Remember I said this is very correct. So even though it break out, we can't be sure that this would be the start of the impulse. We'll be just on the caution side simply because of the deep pullback you had here and the deep pullback you had here. And there's a good chance that this could come break the low and then go back. We've seen that many times in many patterns. So if you're going to buy this here, you have to be very cautious and you have to put it to break even. Now, what would convince us that this is totally going to go? Give me a bigger correction. Give me a bigger sideways correction here. And I'll make an assumption that, okay, this is going to break the top now. Until then, I'll be cautious. What does that mean? I will not trade this. I trade something else that has a better pattern, which I know and which works the way we expect it to go. Right? So you just trade something else. I wouldn't be buying this by no means because it's giving me good caution to stay away from it. If it goes, it goes. I'm not losing anything. NASDAQ, probably buy this one because this is only one pullback here, see? So this could still go. You could probably buy this one. It might still pull back, but there's a higher chance with this. If you get a flag here, you'll consider the buy. Better yet is if it starts to drop. The sell is a good idea. Now, oh, by the way, I should explain that. If it starts to drop, you don't sell immediately. You wait for the setup. I should have said that. You'll allow it to drop like this. You'll wait for a flag here, and then you'll go with the sell. Here is what it will look like. It drops. It makes a flag here. See that flag there? And then you go for this sell. See? Sorry, I should have explained that immediately. Let's go. AU 200. This is a perfect sell setup. I said it yesterday and it's still a perfect sell setup today. It's not ready as yet. The sell setup is not there, but it's building up for a perfect sell setup. This is building up for a perfect sell setup to do this. See this? See that flag there? That's your perfect sell setup. Wait for it. Nifty, my traders might get it earlier, but that's the perfect one. Nifty, buy any flag you get. Tesla, be careful. You can buy the flags, but be careful as you come to this high. This is pretty much what's happening in Bitcoin. This is the correction going up. So at some point, this comes back down here. Even if you break the top, it's irrelevant. The relevance of breaking the top is just deciding whether you have a running flat or you have a regular flat. That's the only difference. Amazon. It's going up. Amazon should have gone up a long time ago, but it's going up really slow because we assumed that the correction ended here. I think this was where we assumed the correction ended. This did not come low enough. So if this is part of an impulse, we will come lower. Yesterday, I said you should buy it to this stop. Right? If you buy it to that top. If you're buying this, you buy it to this stop. And there is where you have to be careful because from this point, there's a chance it could come back up. So if you're buying it, what you'll have to do is move your stops, move your stops, move your stops, move your stops. If this starts to fall, you're out of the trade. If it corrects and take you out, you can re-enter the trade again. Reliance. You can wait for flags and buy. PayPal. It's downside. I think we should get one more drop. Even if this goes up some more, because you're in the correction, this should come back to at least this level and then go up. If this go up like from here, we'll still come back here and then goes. But we don't have any buy setups yet. There's no buy setup in it. Actually, it's more like a sell setup rather than buy. This is coming down already. And it might come down slow. It might come down fast. It should come to about this level. And then you get a perfect buy setup there. Bitcoin. Again, you can buy as much as you want, wherever you want. I would say to you, based on wave analysis, you have to be cautious as you come to the top. As you come to this area, whether or not it breaks the top is irrelevant. Most likely it can break the top and then drop. That is irrelevant. That's just relevance to what you will name the pattern, what you will call the pattern when it forms. But there's a very high probability, and I'll put an arrow just to monitor it. I'd rather be wrong, but based on wave analysis, I'm expecting one more move down here. So we'll see if it happens. We have the whole week to see that, right? Breaking the top is irrelevant. Again, it could go a little higher, but then this move here normally comes. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it comes very quick. We'll see how long it takes to come and whether it comes. XRP. It doesn't mean you can't buy Bitcoin. It just means you have to be cautious in the buy in it, right? So if you get a flag and you're buying, there was a flag there for a buy, you have to take it with caution. That's the only thing it's telling you based on wave analysis. This actually dropped as expected. There's a good chance we could go up one more. There's a very good chance this could go up one more here and then come back. You're just correcting upwards. I think this could be a flat. You could get one more there. You get a bigger correction like this, and then you drop. Let's see. By the way, a few traders asked me why I pulled some of these cryptocurrencies that we had on. I think we take them off because nobody in my group was trading them. Late last year, we did a poll on the top cryptos I'll put on. I don't trade them. So basically what I can do again is ask my traders to relook at these, tell me the top ones they want, because we didn't change it. I should have changed it. That's my fault. I felt sick and I couldn't do it. What we're going to do is we're going to change it, put the top 10 they have, and then the YouTube community can tell me which is your top 10 from the top 10 we have. It's priority for my group to choose the top 10. And then you can decide what are your top 10 from the top 10 I gave you. Sometime this week you'll do it. We'll change that. And then if you like the same top 10, we'll leave it. If you have any choice, we'll probably make 11. I'll give you one option of putting on one that we don't have. Let's go. This is sell setup, by the way. That's an easy sell setup. ETH should go up some more. I think we should break this top. It should come and break this top, but then we're still expecting that one more move down that we don't have. We can break this top here. very likely we could break that up, but then the bigger picture is downside because we haven't got this as it. I'm going to leave this arrow here because that's where I put it initially, right? But it actually made a 1, 2, 3, and it's just making a more complex pattern. So I think we could probably go with this as more as a running flat here. One more up there and then drop here. Let's see if I'm right about that because I've seen that pattern before. This one is pretty, on the daily it's downside, on the 1 hour you can buy a little more before you go down. So the daily pattern is downside, but in the 1 hour it's likely going to go up some more before they come down, right? This one is likely going to go up some more here and then come down. Maybe break this top and then come down. But it's, you can see on the daily it's look very much downside. Same thing here. On the 1 hour you actually can look for a sell setup. This big one could be a running flat. So it's either going to drop one more here now, or they could literally go back at this top. It's hard to tell which pattern exactly you're going to use because there's a number of pullbacks in here that we can combine to make different patterns. I would go with a short-term sell here and then see what happens. I'll go to short-term sell, and if it drops and start to pull back, close the trade because it will make a new high. This is more downside than upside. I think you should go mostly for the sell setup. If you get it, ignore the buy because the buy will only break this top, and that's not a lot. Same here. This is more downside than upside, and I think this would just continue to fall. This here should probably continue to fall to this level, and there's a chance they can go back up, especially if it keeps coming down like this. There's a chance you're going to go back up. And LTC, pretty much the same thing. It broke out, probably go break this top, like I said yesterday, and then we're going to drop, right? Or we're going to come back down and then go back up and come back down and go back up and then drop. But this is a corrective move upwards to come down. So every sell setup you can take, every buy setup you can consider. Because the buy setups are short. They're not going to go very far. They go, they break the top, and they come back. Basically, based on wave analysis, that is how we look at them. Does wave analysis works on crypto? I have no idea. It works very well on all charts. If crypto is doing something else, it will create a pattern. So let me explain this a little. If you manage to get to this part of the video, you're getting a piece of education right now. Here is the educational thing. This is what we do with wave analysis. Forget about everything. Take any chart, and let's say the chart is moving like this. Let's say you were looking at a chart and that's how it moves. And then you see it does this. What is the most logical conclusion you're going to have? That at some point here, you're going to start to get a circle like this, right? That is what wave analysis is about, is identifying known patterns and figure out what the known patterns does. What if you see this circle? Well, you're thinking, well, then it's going to make an impulse to the upside. It's going to make a move to the upside. So whatever you call this pattern is irrelevant. You can call it running flat, expanding flat. It's irrelevant. It's just a name so that you can identify the same pattern again with the same name, right? It's like you're given a name. So when you go and 10 people standing next to you, they know who's George, right? If there are 2 George, you have a second name, basically, right? It's only to identify you. It's irrelevant what your name is. It could have been Peter. It's just to identify you. It's the same thing here. It's a pattern. There will be a pattern. And then what we do is we study this pattern. Let me change the color to red. We study this pattern, all the details of that pattern, all the details of these pattern, all the details of these pattern. And then we check to see whether they repeat themselves. Have we seen that pattern before? Has it repeated itself? How often does it repeat itself? And if it repeats itself, does it behave the same way? Because if it behaves the same way, then the next time you see it, the probability of it behaving the same way has just increased. That is what wave analysis is. Nothing magical. It's not guessing work. It's hard studies, hard work, a lot of studies, a lot of analysis, putting it together, doing the back testing, see how often they work, see what are your probabilities, and then you work with that probability. That's it. That's all it is about. It's irrelevant to the pattern. He says it's going to make a flat. Look, it's not making a flat. It doesn't matter. It's not about I say it's making flat. It's the 2 pieces we have. Tell me if I get a third piece, that would be a flat. So I'm expecting that third piece. 90%, 80% of the time it happens. Great. That's your advantage. That's your edge in the market. Now, what you do with that edge, how you trade what you learn from that, is also part of the equation. And then your psychology of trading. How do you handle the trade when you're in it and it's not going your way? That's what we call trade management. And that's the most important part of trading. That's what we do in the trading room every single day. So if you get to this level, you learn something. If you watch a video to this level, you learn something. If you didn't watch it, goodbye. You didn't learn something. That is what wave analysis is about. There's no magic. It's not me making up things. It's not guesswork. It's hard work. It's studying, understanding, and looking at it. So you can believe it or don't believe it. All we are saying is that these patterns exist and they repeat themselves. It's not a belief system. Right? It's a logical system. It's not a belief system. You don't have to believe in it. You can go and study them yourself, or you can join us and study them. That's all. We have an amazing group of people who does it. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you very much. If you like the video, share it. Give it directly to a friend who's a trader. Tell him to watch it. He might learn something. And tell him to watch it today and by the way. So thank you very much. I'll see all of you. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.